Hello everyone and welcome back. It's been highly requested ever since I posted my Future of Pyria video several months ago that I do another one focusing on Pantala. And well, I found myself wanting to draw a cute little Blicket hybrid, so... Anywho, today we'll be talking about Pantala and where they might find themselves in a few decades. Obviously, they are in for a lot of pretty rapid change after the events of Arc 3, so let's dive in. I'll start with the Hivewings. Now, they have a lot of restructuring to do without Wasp around, and without being mind-controlled every 2 seconds. I think Lady Scarab would have taken over in the immediate aftermath, but she was pretty old, and I got the feeling she wasn't really interested in being in charge. So I think she would step in to get a handle on things, and once a lot of the governing issues and logistical stuff was sorted out, probably retire out of the spotlight again, leaving the throne to a daughter or niece. The Hivewings already seem pretty advanced for a tribe in Wings of Fire. We know they have chocolate, coffee, libraries, scientists, and things like that. Their society in the Hive seems very structured, if rigid, which makes sense following the bee theme. So I think a lot of their post-art growth would focus on things they are, let's say, severely lacking in at the moment, like empathy and morality. Jokes aside, I think the Hivewings would continue advancing in areas they already excel in, but I also think as the new generation begins to come into the picture, the brittle, rigid structure of their society would begin to relax. A lot of the inflexibility of their culture was supported by literal mind control. Without that, I think there would be some lapses until they genuinely just chill the heck out. So I think that would be the biggest change with their tribe. I feel like once they relax a bit, they would also get a bit more artistic. We already know that Silkwings are pretty artistically minded, and I think that once the two tribes get onto a bit more even ground, some of those hobbies may cross those lines. But I think the Hivewings would be really into artisan trade type crafts, like metalworking, wood carving, maybe wind chimes or puzzle cubes, and things like that. To me, they just seem like a smart tribe, so I think their version of artistic expression would reflect that. Now, Silkwings. First and most obvious, they would have their work cut out for them since they've been without a royal family for so long. Either they find a descendant of monarch, or someone takes charge and just falls into that role. Either way, they do eventually figure out a leader, and from there things go a bit smoother. A lot of them still live in the hives. After all, those are their homes too. And although some Silkwings do break away to sort of found their own city, many more choose to stay in their homes. Lots of Silkwings even stay with their original jobs, albeit with pay and more freedoms and rights, in cases where they enjoyed their job or those they worked with. A lot of Silkwing infrastructure is woven into the hives too, from schools to orphanages to public buildings, and starting from scratch is really hard, so I'm sure a good chunk of them stayed in those institutions, especially now that they have no Hivewings telling them what to do. On the bright side, Silkwings are actually in fairly good positions for having recently been an enslaved, conquered tribe. Turns out the Hivewings have a pretty strong dependency on Silkwing products, from fire silk, which constituted all of their lighting, to textiles, to the strong silk cords used in and around the hives. With a bit of business savvy, the Silkwings could actually get some pretty good trade going and start storing up revenue and resources to put towards their blossoming kingdom. And I think that after having been denied the opportunity to undertake ambitions like this for so long, a lot of Silkwings might really enjoy it. I'm thinking like in the stories when a merchant family gets so valuable and wealthy that they're basically nobility, even though they aren't. The Silkwings are kind of going in an opposite direction from the Hivewings, actually. The Hivewings are loosening up and taking a breather, while the Silkwings, after being denied any opportunity for ambition for so long, are now trying something new. We'll probably have some textile tycoons on the up-and-coming before long. I think the Silkwings would also get into gardening, since they're largely a meatless tribe. And with the Leafwings returned, I bet farming and gardening becomes a lot more popular. Speaking of Leafwings, their turn now. So I think, given the chance, they would really be pretty ready to leave the poison jungle. Maybe not entirely, since it was their home for quite a while, but it is a deadly place, and they were there in exile, so I think they would want something new. I think that with Sundew and the other Leafspeak users, they would be able to help a new forest kind of jumpstart itself, especially now that the Hivewings aren't stopping them anymore. However, they don't just need a new home, they need to start everything pretty much from scratch. I think the Silkwings would be generous with aid. They feel a lot of sympathy for the Leafwings, and their situations weren't so different. I don't know how many Hivewings would feel the same, but I doubt any of them would tip into outright hostility anymore. But I think as the years progress, they would actually find some common ground with the Leafwings. Both of these tribes are learning how to relax after decades of vigilance and propaganda. The Leafwings are learning how to live in peace without being hunted. And I think that as dragons get older and time dulls the edges of hatred and fear, we would start to see a more, we're too old to care about all that anymore, camaraderie between the dragons old enough to remember Wasp and the Breath of Evil and all that. So I think a lot of Leafwing culture growth would focus on healing and learning how to live with the peace instead of the fear. Also, I think that even more so than the Silkwings, they would become just, like, farmers? But, like, tree farmers? Orcharders? Is there a word for someone who farms, but specifically with fruit trees and things? Anyways, that's what I think the Leafwings would do. I bet there's a bunch of things everyone has been missing out on without trees, from fruit and nuts to their medical applications. I think a lot of animosity is going to be smoothed over once someone figures out pie, or candied fruit. Problem solved by the power of treats. And yep, that's about where I think everyone will be in a few years. You can really see the German in my heritage right now, because my idea of healing is just good food. Anyhow, before I go, let's talk a little bit about the art. After all, this cute baby is part of the reason you're enjoying me ramble today. This is Skipper. Obviously, she's a silk hive hybrid, and I don't think I've ever done one of those before. She was really fun to design, and I think her wings are definitely a highlight. I like the split hive and silkwing. Not sure how logistically viable those would be for flight, but they sure look good. She's her mother's child, really, looking a lot more like Cricket, but taking on some of Blue's coloring. I tried really hard to make some purple work for her, but I just couldn't get it to fit with the gold, and I didn't want to lose that. So the closest I got was a dark pink red on the neck spots, and the really pale blue purple gray on the wings. I do think it came together nicely though. It's a cute design. Remember to check out the description where you can find links to my other socials. If you enjoyed this video, check out my other WHATSIFACEs, including the one about Pyria. Thank you so much for hanging around, and please have a blessed day.
You've been lost and alone in the city of lights, I know. Getting hot, feeling low, and it's out of your control. You should know that I won't leave you. I'll stay